Hi, Dr. Vivek Mansingh. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Writersmelon Author's Corner.
Happy to be here, Priyanka.
So, today we are talking to author Dr. Vivek Mansingh. It's actually one of the most impressive author bios that I have read in quite some time, which I think is normal because in a self-help book or in a so-called non-fiction book, it's mostly the source which is very important than the content, than what the content is. So Dr. Vivek Mansingh is pretty much the been there, done there kind of a guy, if I may say so. And his book, Achieving Meaningful Success Unleash the Power of Me, is actually a very, very inspiring book. It starts with his own story. And without further ado, I would like to ask you what exactly, according to you, is the definition of a meaningful success? What is success to you after having written like 84, getting 84 patents on your name
Many,
and
many
working in
patterns, yes.
some of the biggest US corporations with some of the biggest guys like Steve Jobs, Helmut Packard. I don't know. I mean, I was quite amazed to read your initial journey. So please go ahead. I would love to hear it from you.
Thank you, Priyanka, for having me here once again. I think you hit the nail on the head because many self help books are written by consultants and trainers. And it's like they are teaching swimming while they don't themselves do not know
Yes.
swimming, right? So self-help, I believe, should come, like you rightly said, from people who have been there, done that. And that is sort of my journey, and that is why it is so important. My one line introduction, Priyanka, is that I have worked with David Packard, Bill Hewlett, Michael Dell, Steve Jobs, and John Chambers, and obviously it's a phenomenal learning opportunity. Coming back to the book, my journey is written in chapter one, and the purpose of journey is to highlight that I come from a very humble background, Hindi school product, sitting on ground up to grade 10, and then from there to literally wherever I wanted to. God was kind, and I could literally walk wherever I wanted to, and that is the crux of the message for the book. But before I go there, let me answer the question you have asked, and that is, what is meaningful success to me? Um,
That's
Two
the book.
data points. That is the book, and I also have the book here. Um, one more thing, Priyanka, I will add. Many talks I have given all over the world on various subjects, from technology to innovation to excellence to leadership and so on. And many times people used to ask me, "Can you recommend just one book to read?" And I always struggled with that, because how can you recommend one book? Well, this is the answer to
Now
that
you can
question.
recommend yours. Yes.
Now I can recommend mine, and with full objectivity. It is very important we also clarify, Priyanka, that the all the profit of the book is going to charitable purposes to Chitrakoot Eye Hospital. So when I'm promoting the book, please discount that I'm trying to benefit from it. 100% is going to eye care for the poor. Okay, now to your question. So here is some data point. In US, they did a study, Priyanka, where they interviewed seemingly very successful CEOs, artists, Hollywood artists, and athletes, and so on, towards the end of their life. And to surprise of many of them said that they screwed up their life. They are not happy with their life. All right. These are the people we regard as mini gods, and they are saying that we have not been successful in life. Another data point, research at Harvard University by Professor Clayton. He followed an MBA batch of students from Harvard. So on the fifth alumni meet, he met, the whole batch came, everyone was doing great. Great spouses, great jobs, cars, houses, everyone was doing great. By 10th alumni, one third of the people did not show up. And when he dug deeper, he found that many of them were having relationship and health problems. By 25th anniversary of that alumni group, one half of the people did not show up, and many had serious health problems, serious relationship problems, and actually some of them had ended up in jail for unethical practices. So the point is that you have to pay attention to what success means to you. And so success for me means when you take, and this is a bigger problem in India than in many other places because of the background from which most people come. We focus on professional success way too much. So professional success has, as a part, career fits in there, financial success fits in there, material success fits in there, and so on. But the other side of the coin, and I call it wheel of gold, or the other side of the wheel, is actually relationship. It is spirituality. It is giving back. It is these kind of soft things that are absolutely key. And health, of course. If you, so many now 30-year-olds are having diabetes and some are having serious health problems. What is the point of financial or material or career success if you end up in a hospital in a serious situation? So meaningful success to me is when you pick up the goals from both sides, your well-being success as well as your uh, professional success, and balance it the way you want. Nobody can tell anyone else what is their success parameters, but you decide. But make sure you pick the parameters of success from both halves, not one side, and then lead your life. And then when you look back after many years and you say, what have I done with my life? That regret is, there's no rewind button in life. There's nothing you can do at that time. So knowing it now and then doing it the right way is very important. Now another question, Priyanka, I'll ask myself and answer because this is very important. Then people will say, if you are focusing on other things, will it affect your professional success? And the answer is, it is opposite of that. Actually, you will actually propel yourself to success beyond what you could imagine. And that is why I talk about first setting up your aspirational goals. Now, another point here is that Indians have hard time setting big aspirational goals because of the constraints they have generally grown in,
Absolutely. Yes.
right?
And I
So it's
really
very,
like the, sorry to interrupt, and I really like the
sure.
word that you used, that we are mostly very opportunity driven than goal
That's right.
driven, right?
That's right.
Because
That's
whenever,
right.
because as students also, we want to pursue the field which has the best potential for an employer or to get a job. And then as a professional also, when we move ahead in our professional career, we always look for opportunity that will propel us rather than what really suits us, or what we really like to do professionally or as a goals,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So be goal driven, not opportunity driven. That is a big message from the book. But coming back to the point I was saying, aspirational goals. So mentors, now comes the mentors, because you can't really think big. That is the first step where mentor comes in. And let me digress for a minute, if I can, because it is very important. I personally believe, Priyanka, that everyone, every single person, irrespective of the stage, they need a mentor. Mentor is needed and desired. Now, in India, as you know, mentoring culture is not as much. And so, where people go for mentoring? And that is the purpose of the book. So, I have started an initiative called Mentor a Million, where I want to mentor 1 million people through book. And after you have read the book, if you have any questions, you can go to my website. All the details are in the book, and ask questions. And me or my team of mentees will answer those questions. So the goal is to mentor 1 million people. It has never been done anywhere else in the world. Now, coming back to aspirations, and I'm going back and forth, but I think it's important to keep clarifying the doubts in people's mind. I'm anticipating their question, and actually I'm answering those questions. So now, aspiration, what do I mean by aspirational goals? Let's take yesterday's Bollywood star Dilip Kumar, right? He was selling fruits in Bombay. He didn't aspire to have the largest fruit store in Bombay. He aspired to become a Bollywood actor, and he did, right? Even more new for younger generation, Mahendra Singh Dhoni was a ticket collector in railways. He didn't
Yes.
aspire to become a station master or a senior ticket collector. He aspired to play cricket for India, and he did. This is what aspiration means. You break the boundaries. And many times when I'm mentoring Priyanka, I'm asking people when they can't think of something big, even when you challenge them, then I say, okay, God is in front of you and says, ask. Now there's no constraint. God himself or herself is there. Ask, and people still struggle. So, first job of the mentor is to actually help you aspire big, and that is where the book starts. The second part of the book is then become worthy of those aspirations and achieve success. I'll let you ask questions as well.
No, but like I said, you are like been there, done there. Okay, you were in Silicon Valley right at the time when the boom was. You pretty much saw things growing there. I mean, if you are in Silicon Valley in 1987 or in the early 90s, I mean, it's you're pretty much in the melting pot. Okay, we are probably not in those situations right now. I mean, economy is in a downturn. There was COVID. There is horrible resignation. I was just reading about this mass resignation that's happening in the corporate. So yes, we can set goals, but don't you think it's like putting yourself up against a lot of pressure? Because if you really want to think big, if you really have like really big goals, like you're saying that even when God appears and I make my wishes, and then even if I work hard, I know I have my limitations, right? I mean, I know that there are so many limitations that I need to work with, the limitations of time, limitations of whatever, education, exposure, privilege, hundreds of other things. So how is it possible? I mean, you're making it sound like really really simple.
It is not easy, but it is not difficult either. Because let me tell you that all the people who you think are successful, they had also tremendous situations around them which could have discouraged them. Every successful person, you look around them and they have come the odds against them, right? So I think first step is to like I said, everyone will not become a Narayan Murthy or a Kiran Majumdar or a Rahul Dravid. I say that in the book itself. But everyone has to realize their full potential. That at least we owe it to ourselves, right? Now, how do you realize your potential?
Yes,
How
how
high
do we
can you
know?
jump?
How do you know what is my
Yeah.
yeah.
So how high can you jump? You can only find when you actually put the bar high and try to jump. If you put the bar at 2 feet and jump, there's no fun there, right? So you put it at 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, and then say, okay, how high I can jump. Now, the other part you said, and that's an excellent question, that we have our limitations. So there are two sides to limitations: one that we actually have, and one that we believe we have.
Yeah.
And the believe ones have to be toned down. And that is the second part of the book, that you become worthy of your aspirations. So, in one line, if I say about the book, define who you aspire to be, that's the first part, then become that person. So Mahendra Singh Dhoni defined and became, Rahul Dravid defined and became, Narayan Murthy, Kiran Majumdar, they all defined and they became. You
Is it
can
true?
also do that.
Is it true
Absolutely.
that everybody defined? Don't you think that a lot of people were just at the right place at the right time and it just happened and they did
So,
not really plan so
excellent.
much?
Excellent question. So that is why I have interviewed 11 people who I personally admire and who I'm
Hmm.
inspired by. So these people are not just randomly selected people. These are Ratan Tata, this is Narayan Murthy, Kiran Majumdar, Vinita Bali, Vani Kola, Rahul Dravid, John Chambers, and other people, right? These are people who personally I admire and I interviewed them. Let me give you a few examples, right? So they aspired big. Now they may not have aspired as big as they where they
Yeah.
reached, right? But they did. Rahul Dravid, for example, if you take his example, he's a personal friend, family friend. He aspired to play cricket and give his best. Now, he did not know that he will become all time great, but at least he aspired to play for India and give his best. So, Narayan Murthy probably did not know that Infosys will become a company that will employ 500,000 people and so on. But he had the vision of creating an Infosys, right?
Okay.
So, you keep on going, right? So, I'll give you my example. which is why I have written the book, because I can answer your questions very easily because it is me. So after my PhD, I'm working in Silicon Valley, working for HP in 1986, 87. And I was 30 years old, one small child. My wife was homemaker. No green card, no money, no bank balance, no nothing. Okay. Now at 30, I give myself a goal that by 40, I want to become financially independent.
Yes.
Okay. Now I've written down the criteria for that financial independent situation. And now I give given this goal. Now see how this works. And that the second chapter of the book is passion. And passion has to be very important ingredient. And I'll talk about it in a minute. So I gave myself this goal. Now, what can I do? I can't do a startup. I have no money. I can't leave a job because so all the constraints that you are talking about are around me too, Priyanka.
Hmm.
Small child, this, that, no green card. So I think, and passionately think. And I'll come to passion later. But then here is the idea that if I can invent something and license it to a company, I can actually make this happen. Now, who is stopping me? I will do that on a weekend, on weekends and evenings. HP has no problem with that. I'll pick a situation that is not related to HP, so I'm not compromising my ethical sort of limitations. So I did exactly that. In a year and a half from that, I invented an instrument and licensed it to a Boston company and started earning royalty. And I was on my way to become financially independent. So, did when I set the goal, did I know that this will happen? No, I did not know that. But when I gave the goal and then I said, okay, I have to achieve it. Now, here is the power of passion that I want to talk about. I've discussed in one chapter in the book. Passion, all successful people, and I know a lot of them in US and India, including many I have interviewed, they are all very passionate. So there has to be something in passion that magic appears again and again. What is that? Well, here is the story. Our brain is in two parts, Priyanka. One is run by logic, other is run by emotion. Now, because of our training and education, we only use logical part all the time. And we actually never, most of the times, we are never exercising the emotional part of the brain. Now, the beauty is that actually emotional part of the brain is more powerful than the one that works for logic. I can prove that to you in 30 seconds. Tell me if you have cried in a movie, not because movie is bad, but because you got engaged with the movie. Have you not?
That's true. Yeah.
We all have, right? So what has happened here? You know this is not happening. You know it's fiction. You know the movie is going to end in 10 minutes, but you can't stop crying. What has happened? Emotional part of your brain has become charged, and now logical part is unable to control it. It is telling it that this is not real, this is fiction, but you can't. So this part is very powerful, given to us, and every one of us have it. Now, to charge this, what do you need? An emotion, not logic. And that emotion is passion. And when people who are very passionate about what they want to achieve, they actually start using both sides of the brain. And that is when you become Aham Brahmasmi. The whole Brahman conspires to actually help you achieve your goals. So I got the idea. I did not have any clue before the goal that I would actually invent something and license it to somebody, but it all came because of passion. And that is the power of passion. So if you don't create goal, you can't be passionate about nothing. So you have to create large goals that excite you so much that you will have hard time sleeping. Now, let me also tell you that I had hard time sleeping, not in a bad way. I was just too excited about achieving my goal, and my wife said that. And if I get up at night, I would not go to sleep because I will forget those ideas that have come. So my wife said, "Why don't you put a pencil and a paper and write these ideas and go back to sleep so that you
Yeah.
can work next day?" That is passion. How many of us are actually keeping awake for our goals? The ones that are will actually get there, right? So that is the power of passion, that is power of goal. And then I go into becoming worthy of your aspiration. So I did a lot of things to improve myself. And that these are three pillars I talk about, Priyanka. That is, follow excellence, learn
Yes.
leadership, and
And
think out
outside
of
the
the box.
box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these three will make you into superhuman being. You will not believe, actually. Looking back, you will say, "Am I the same person?" You will not believe that, and that is what I cover in the book. And also the interviews that I have done, Priyanka, with these 11 people. It's not general interviews that where were you born and how will you. It's not that. It's about the content in the book.
Mm.
And so they are actually underlining the messages that I'm sharing with people in the book. And my challenge it to every person who is listening to it, go and read the book the way I have said it. Try it. If you can't try a big goal, try a smaller goal first, and then you will just see how this works. There is a science behind it, there is a spirituality behind it, there is Aham Brahmasmi behind it, and you will start becoming worthy of bigger and bigger and bigger goals. So, like I said, Rahul Dravid did not plan to become one of the best in the world at that time, but he said, I'm going to play cricket for India. That was his goal. He did there, and then he continued to improve himself, and he became one of the best ever.
Great. The next question that I would love to ask you, because we are all talking about success and meaningful success, but we know that often things don't go as planned, and there is another word which is called the failure, because
Yes,
with every heads there is also a tail, and with every white there is also a black, right? Or there are grays, let's say. I mean, for me,
sure,
the way I look at it, failure is mostly like a gray, and it's not like the other end or the end of the world, so to say. So,
correct.
all these people whom you have interviewed, I'm sure they have gone through massive failures. Steve Jobs himself was like
That's right.
literally
That's
sent
right.
out of
That's right.
his own
That's right.
company,
That's
and
right.
he came back. Um, and that man is really an inspiration for a lot of people.
Yes.
But we also know a lot of things that happened in his personal life, which he was like really unhappy, unhealthy, and really died so soon. But tell us about these setbacks, about failures. How do these people deal with it? And how do, because sometimes these people almost feel like superhuman to us, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
how does a common person deal with
excellent.
failures?
Excellent question. And that is why I have talked about all my failures in the book as well, so that you don't start getting an
Yes,
impression that I was with a golden spoon and I could walk and success was everywhere.
true.
No, that I have failed many, many times, and I have captured that in the book as well. So first thing you have to understand is that failure is not opposite of success. Failure is part of success. So you can't succeed without failures. So that is part of it. If you are trying to, if you are too afraid of failures, and that is one reason why people do not have big aspirational goals, because they are too afraid of
Bit of failures.
failing. Don't consider failure as opposite of success. It is actually part of success. So that is point one. Point two, all of these 11 people and many others that I have worked with have failed many times, right? But they persevere. They don't give up their dreams. They continue to follow their passion, and they continue to improve themselves. So Rahul Dravid talks about in his interview in the book that when he was dropped from the one day team, Indian team, one day team, he was dropped. He could not imagine Rahul Dravid dropped from India team. Now, here is the difference between a Rahul Dravid and an average person. So he went back and he said, what do I lack? And he worked on it, and he describes it in the interview very well. By the way, all of these interviews are also available uh, in video in my on my website, so
Okay.
you can actually go and listen to Rahul Dravid. So what does he do? He works for 1 year, and he gives himself a goal that I will come back in the team, one day team. After 1 year, he came back to one day team and scored 10,000 runs in one day cricket. Now, did he not fail? Could he have not said that, okay, I've played enough cricket and I'm one of the best in test cricket. Why do I have to now worry about one day? That is what differentiates these people. And I can keep giving stories. Steve Jobs, you rightly said Steve Jobs was walked out of his office. He was not actually allowed to go to his office.
Yes.
From the lobby, he was sent back, right? And
Yes.
then but did he give up his dream? No, he didn't. And he came back, and rest is history. Apple is one of the most valuable companies in the world, and Steve is Steve. I mean, there is no second Steve in the world. Although I have worked with many people, so I think important point in summary. It's an excellent question. Failure is part of success. You will fail from time to time. Analyze your failure, learn from it, and move on. Don't give up your dream. I work with startups today. So, Priyanka, it's not that aspiration is missing in Indian people, not at all. Every day I meet one startup or two startups, and these are 25, 30-year-old people coming from all backgrounds, right? So, a typical IITN today is coming from a smaller town, not from,
Yes.
right? And so they have big dreams. They are trying to create $100 million company, $500 million company, a unicorn. So these are all 25, 30-year olds.
True.
So I forget about Narayan Murthy, forget about Rahul Dravid. Every day I'm meeting these people who have large aspirations, and they are following their dreams with a lot of passion and becoming worthy of it by improving themselves as people. And that is the way. Now I have take my goal. I have given myself a goal, 1 million people I want to mentor. Book is born from that goal, not the other way around. So I said, how can I do that? How can mentor 1 million people? Then I said, okay, if I can write a book, and then if I can put my website, then I can actually mentor 1 million people. So see, big goals give you the solution, provide you are passionate and you are ready to fail few times. It's okay. I have failed many times, and I have described it in the book.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Vivek Mansingh, for being with us today and teaching us about success and failure, and inspiring us to actually look at both success and failure objectively. And yes, a lot of things that you said in the book really connected with me a lot, and I hope the readers also find it that way. Wish you all the best with everything that you are doing. Your list of activities are also endless, so wish you all the best, and yeah, have a nice day. Thank you
Just
very much.
one point I want to cover, Priyanka. Who's the book for? I want to readers
Yes,
to or
please.
audience to know that anybody above 15 years or older is the book for. Whether you are 60, I'm 65, and I'm still using the techniques that I have described there. So it is for all. No matter how successful you are, you can always do bigger and better things. So the book is
Absolutely.
for all. Many people have told me that I've bought the book and given it to my son or daughter, and I said, have you read it yourself? What are your goals to do better in next
Yes.
5 years? And they say none. So
Yes.
they have outsourced their life to their
To
children.
the children. Yes. Yes. Yes,
So this
I
book,
can so relate to this. Yes, I think
yeah,
a lot of us in our late 30s or in our 40s, we are like, yeah, we have like done everything, it's done. But then every time when you motivate yourself with next challenge, I think that was also an inspiration that I got from what I read in your life. Like reinventing yourself at every stage of your
Re-
life is so important, right? Like at the age of 60 you decided to write a book and start another thing and then another thing, you never know. So I think that is also very impressive and encouraging for a lot of us.
So I
So
encourage readers to buy it for their children, but you also use it and
yes.
do bigger and better things, no matter how
Yes.
old you are.
Yes.
Rajan Anandan, when he launched the book Priyanka, he said that I'm going to give a copy to my daughter who is 15-year-old, and I'm going to give it to my mother who is 70-year-old. That
Yes.
is the right framework to read this book and go and do bigger and better things. I always say that future should not be decided by extrapolation of your past. Listen to this
True.
sentence. It's the most powerful sentence you can probably hear. Future should not be decided by extrapolation of your past. It should be decided, or it should be driven by the aspirations of the future. So look for future. Don't try to extend the past. All
That's
the
great.
best. Enjoy the book and do bigger and better things.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priyanka. Bye bye.
Bye.